Hi there, and welcome to day 3 in the Shuridu studio tour. This whole week I'm giving you an online tour in the Shuridu studio, telling you everything behind the scenes of what's happening in here, showing you around and talking about what I do within my business Shuridu. So to everybody who's new to Shuridu, this is a lovely introduction, and for everybody who's following me for a while, I get to show you my new workspace. And I love cutting the fabrics, assembling the kits. I have a whole team of testers. If this is the first video you've clicked about the studio tour, make sure to also watch the first 2 videos about the general overview and about the tools and machines that I'm using for quilting. Today is going to be about what it's like being an online entrepreneur, what I do within my business, what I sell, the products that I have in my webshop. Yeah, that is kind of what I'm going to talk about today. So my business Shuridu is all about quilting, and I see myself mostly as a quilt designer. I love making foundation paper piecing patterns especially. If you've never done foundation paper piecing or have no clue what it is, I am hosting a foundation paper piecing course to confidently learn how to do foundation paper piecing. It starts in October. On the 5th of October it's going to start again, then the doors will open for the second time, and I'm very excited about it. It was so much fun to teach all the quilters and new skills and build that confidence to confidently do a foundation paper piecing. So on the 5th of October the doors are going to open again, and in the live Q&A that I'm hosting this Friday, so in 2 days, I have a really nice special announcement about the course. So if you're interested in learning how to do foundation paper piecing, really do check out the live Q&A this Friday. So foundation paper piecing is a technique that I am very excited about. I love to draw patterns for foundation paper piecing. So yeah, it's my favorite technique, and that's the one that I use the most in my quilts. And so the patterns that I draw for foundation paper piecing I turn into PDFs, and those can be found as digital patterns on my webshop. And with those PDFs I also make quilt kits. I love to make the product as a kit, so you have a pattern and you have the fabrics that go along with it, so that you have everything at home when you order a kit to make that one project. It's really convenient, and it makes sure that you have everything to make a project from start to finish. And I love cutting the fabrics, assembling the kits, so that's also happening all in the studio. That's something that my mom helps me with a lot. So if we need to make kits and ship out a lot of orders, and she's here to help me. Yeah, we both get really excited and happy of cutting and folding all those pretty fabrics. So that's a product that I love to make. So foundation paper piecing patterns and the kits that come along with it. So that's all happening here in my studio. And I just mentioned the online course that I'm teaching, and a lot of times people come in my studio, or when they see that I have a space like this big, then they ask me, oh, this is probably for hosting workshops, in-person workshops. And then I'm like, not really. This is mostly the space for me to just be able to work here by myself. And in my previous studio I did have a huge table with lots of chairs where I could host workshops, and which I also did, but it turned out that I like it better to host those workshops as online courses or online workshops over the internet, to be able to teach more people, and also in their own time, not having to travel to my studio, being able to do it internationally. So it's just really convenient for me to host those kinds of events online. It's not that I never want to meet other quilters, not at all. I really enjoy going to a quilt fair where I have a booth a few times a year. Of course not now in these strange times, when everything is cancelled. When everything is back to normal, I'm sure I'm going to be visiting quilt fairs again. And I love to have that interaction with people there. Just the teaching, the workshops, that's not something that I'm planning to do in the studio anymore. I would love to host a local quilt bee though. So that is something that I would love to do. And also that's really possible with this space. Yeah, so but that's not really business related. That's more like the hobby side of my job, quilting with other people. And the other thing that I do teaching wise is making YouTube videos. So sharing tutorials and tips and tricks on YouTube just for free, really accessible for everybody to learn new things and to see someone use materials or tools or share tips and tricks. I love to make those types of videos. So that's also an exciting part of my work. Tomorrow's video is going to be all about designing quilt patterns. So my whole process of what I go through to get from a sketch to a design pattern. I'm going to share that all tomorrow. So maybe I could just walk around in the studio and show you the materials and things that I have laying around that I sell in my shop, and talk a little bit more about the business side of Shiridu. So I'll just start here at this side of the studio where I have all the shelves with stuff, and a lot of this you can find in my web shop. So over here I have rulers. These are rulers by Creative Grid by Angela Walters. A lot of different types of them, and these are rulers that I really like for machine quilting. So those you can find in my shop, and also normal quilting rulers. And then of course fabrics. For now there are still fabrics available that you can buy a quantity that you like of, that you can buy in a quantity that you like. Yes. So that's now available in my shop, but I'm leaning more towards making fabric bundles because I love to mix and match colors and make bundles of them. And I have the feeling that people also like the bundles that I put in my shop. They always sell out so quickly. So probably in the future you can find more and more bundles, half-meter bundles. Well, a meter is almost the same as a yard. So yard bundles or a fat quarter bundles. Yeah, that is going to be more and more in my web shop. But so fabric, we have that, and here you see two bundles of fabric. This one is going to be for my new book, and this one is going to be for the next Shiridu Bonina Quilt Along. Little sneak peek behind the scenes. Yeah, so fabrics and fabrics and fabrics. Here are books, but these are all my own books. I do sell the machine quilting book by Angela Walters, no, Amanda Murphy, because I love that book so much. I think it's really good. But I'm not planning on selling a lot of books. So this one especially, because the Shiridu Bonina Quilt Along is coming up in January, is also about quilting with machine rulers. So if you want to do some free research, I really can recommend that book. Then here there's a lot of rulers that I have in my web shop. First of all, add a quarter rulers. I love to use this in foundation paper piecing. So if you're going to sign up for the course in October, you will see me using those all the time. Really convenient to use those in foundation paper piecing. You can do foundation paper piecing with normal rulers or even with scissors, but I love this the best. Then I have some other things that I just like to use and that I have then in my shop. So these are gloves for machine quilting, pens that can be what is it called? Erasable pens. Yeah, so when you want to mark something and erase it later. And this one is also something for that. That's a Hera marker. You can make little lines on your quilt, so to trace a pattern or to mark some lines on your quilt before you start quilting your quilt. For hand stitching, and of course some rotary cutters. This one I also use for foundation paper piecing a lot. That makes me grab my iron way less, so that speeds up the process. So when you don't need to iron every step in the way when you're doing foundation paper piecing, it saves a lot of time. So this little roll and press seam roller, it's a really handy little guy. Oh, here we have more pens and a ruler for round shapes, yeah, to cut circles, half circles. I have a really fun project with that in store, but it's going to roll out a little bit later this year. What do we have here? Oh, we have my Cricut machine, and it's not that I sell the Cricut machine, but I make stickers with it. So I have a set of planner stickers that I've made with that, and I just really enjoy drawing and designing stickers now and then. So every now and then there will be some new sticker sets showing up, I guess, in the Shigredo web shop. So that is there. Let's see if we have more. Here we have freezer paper. Also use this for foundation paper piecing, and then some spray for spray basting, and this is to put on your machine rulers for when you're doing a machine quilting with rulers. That is to make it less slippery. Yeah, I guess we're almost there. Well, here I have a kit for Christmas placemat. Have quite a few of these left. Perfect timing in September, right, to start with your Christmas project. So if you're interested, hop over to the shop to get your kit for Christmas placements. And these mugs, I bought those on a craft fair, but then there were no craft fairs anymore, so those are also in the shop. And of course over here I have tea bag paper. So I sell tea bag paper for foundation paper piecing, and I sell that as 1 meter, 2 meter, 5 meter and 10 meters. So that's kind of a good overview, I guess, for all the products that I have in my web shop and the things that I make and sell. Yeah, so it's not that I'm doing this all by myself. I did when I was working in my old studio. I was also doing everything by myself, but now not anymore. I'm so happy that people are helping me within my business. So as I mentioned, my mom often helps me when there's a lot of cutting and folding needs to be done, so packing orders or making quilt kits. And well, it's not completely true that I say I did everything by myself in the old studio, because with the previous quilt along I had so much help of friends helping me folding fabrics, making kits, folding boxes. So yeah, I didn't do everything by myself, but now I'm also delegating and actually paying people to help me. For example, editing my videos. So I have now a video editor who helps me edit, and a graphic designer helping me design the visuals for my book, for my logo, my branding. And what else? Of course, my business manager that I've mentioned before. I think she helps me staying structured and yeah, have everything in order, and don't lose my mind over all the projects that are running together now. I have a whole team of testers, and they sew and test for Shigredo. So whenever there's a new pattern, they get fabrics from me and they sew and they test, and they yeah, they let me know if everything is okay with the patterns, and then they will send back blocks to me so I can join them into projects and quilt them. And that helps me a lot to be able to roll out more patterns than when I would do everything by myself. So quite a lot did change between when I was working in my old studio and now. So delegating tasks to others really helps me to make up space to be creative again. So I can focus on design and on making courses and making patterns, and other people help me with the rest of stuff in my business that also needs to be done. So let's go to the questions that were asked via Instagram, and then it's already the end of this part of the studio tour. But first, those questions. So one question that I got was, do you listen to music or audiobooks while you work? Yeah, so whenever I need to do repetitive things, so whenever I'm sewing, foundation paper piecing patterns, when I'm sewing or when I'm quilting, I love to listen to podcasts or to audiobooks. Yeah, and when I'm designing, I mostly just listen to some easy listenable music, so that it won't distract me a lot. And also when I'm cutting, I love to listen to audiobooks. So another question that was asked was, where do you store your books and patterns? Well, just showed you already, but I just have a shelf with books, and I also have a shelf over here with magazines. So that is where I store them. Next question. Which fabric companies do you order from? Well, I have a few favorites. So actually I have favorite designers. Sassafras Lane. I love fabrics by Sassafras Lane. So fabrics for my new book are partially Kona cotton. That's the solids that I really like, and partially fabrics by Sassafras Lane. And that is made by Windham Fabrics, and those are also an older collection of sassafras. They're just so cool. So that is Windham Fabrics, and I mentioned that solids that I use are mostly Robert Kaufman. Yeah, Kona cotton. So those I really like, and I guess that's mostly what I have, because the other ones that are here in between, it's all different. Some are Moda. Yeah, it's quite a mix. These fabrics I get by going to a wholesale and then just picking fabrics that match the colors that I already have. So I know that they will go really well in my web shop and in fabric bundles that I want to make. But I'm not really brand specific. So I know that I like a lot of Robert Kaufman's fabric. For example, a fabric by Ankel. I hope I pronounced your name right. But yeah, I really love the bright colors that she uses. And yeah, that's also by Robert Kaufman. So those mix and match really well with the solids that I have. But for the other fabrics, it's kind of a combination of lots of different brands. See if we have another question. Where do you store your most precious fabric? That is a good question. I had most precious fabric, and that was by Karen Lewis, but I do store it, but then I also use it because I love it so much. So there's not a special box or somewhere where I have all the fabrics that I really like and don't want to use. And I really learned that there's always going to be more fabric that is really pretty. So I just try to use my pretty fabrics because then I can really enjoy working with it. So I have here my own stash of fabrics, and as you can see already over here in this Clayworks, this is Karen Lewis. So in my fabric boxes I have a kind of a mix. This is also, this blue one, it's also Karen Lewis. So I have a mix in here with my personal stash, and there's just some fabrics that I really love and other fabrics that I like. It's mixed in there. And this stash, actually, I bought this during a Black Friday sale at Fat Quarter Shop, because that is a fabric line of Sassafras Lane and I couldn't buy it at a wholesale anymore. I just really loved it, so I bought a whole bunch of that during a Black Friday sale at Fat Quarter Shop. Just because I like it a lot, I thought, let's buy a lot, then it won't go so quickly. And I don't have this in my web shop, so even though I have a lot of it, I just have it for personal use or to make kits. This fabric is used in the Be Happy and Be Kind kits, so every now and then I make a few new ones of those and put it in my shop. But yeah, that is, I guess, some of my most precious fabric. So that is, I guess, everything that I had to share about the business side of Sugary Do. So the products that I sell and the things that I make and create. And tomorrow I'm going to tell you all about the design process of how I create and make my foundation paper piecing patterns. Yeah, but for now, this is it for today. And I really hope to see you again tomorrow in the 4th day of the Sugary Do studio tour.